Okay, I'm doing this again because my last attempt was 18 minutes and I forgot to say a few things. So, here's a few quick things to get out of the way first. First of all, hit 100 subscribers. Pretty cool. Second of all, join the Discord if you haven't. Third of all, if you like this, consider subscribing or liking. That's pretty cool. Or commenting. I read all of them. So, first thing to get out of the way is how do colors work? What is so good about them? What is so bad about them? And how to pick them? The main thing is that you don't want to go too vibrant or too dark, but you can go really vibrant still and make it still look really good. It just depends on circumstances. Now, what are those circumstances? Well, it depends. If you have very low and then very high contrasting, those usually work well. If you have in between contrasting, those also work very well. So what doesn't work very well? Well, for instance, if I were to change this to some sort of weird color, here we go. This is a terrible color. Why is it a terrible color? Well, because it looks like crap. It literally does, okay? It looks like poop. So, the main problem with it, though, as well, is that it doesn't match up with anything. If I were to simply match it up with colors, it might just look good. If I simply just create sphere here, and then just create a few more. Oops. Oh, crap. There we go. If I just create a few more spheres and everything, do this well, now it actually doesn't look too bad. Even against a really terrible color like this, which you can tell looks terrible, it's still okay. It still doesn't look too bad. And the main reason for that is just dependent on where it is, like what scenario it's in. Now for reference, okay, this is how I pick colors, okay? You can do the same. I highly recommend it. It makes sense. It works every time. And there are a few different ways to do it, but I prefer this. So, the main thing you want to get out of the way is realizing that contrast is good, okay? You want contrast. In this case, what is worse? Probably the left side, you'd say. The main reason why? Well, because the colors are kind of but also because, in my opinion, this sticks out a lot more than this does on the background. Mostly because this is nearly completely to the left. Like there's no saturation, that's what it's called. But you don't want much saturation in things that you don't need. In games, you don't have much saturation in the background. Why? Because, first of all, it's further away, and second of all, it just is not as important, right? That's not the main focus. The main focus, you can probably tell, is this, this, and this. And same with this, you can still tell, but the colors just kind of suck. If I simply go ahead and change this to be back to normal, you can see how it's better, but you'd probably still say this. Why is that? Well, it's mostly just because of the color choices and how they work together. If you look at this, you can see how it goes down in this weird path, right? This is the same with this, but instead inverted. If I look at this exact same moon, you can see how it goes exact opposite. It goes from here down. This can be in any sort of path. This can be linear. This can be sloped. This can be in some sort of jaggy, whatever. It will usually almost always look good. It really does not matter. However, you don't want the saturation going to the left. Why? Well, because darker colors absorb more light, and so they reflect pretty much more vibrant colors. So they give a more vibrant, more saturated look. However, they are also just a lot darker. So if I have a very dark color, usually I make it blue or red and have it like this, right? Before just making it completely black. But the other reason is, oh well, there's no other reason, but I was just going to show you this. If I simply go to this and change the color over here, change the color to go down over here instead, change the color to be maybe a little bit more blue because usually you want to get closer to the main color, in this case RGB, right? So if it's closer to, if you want more of a green color, you want to shift more to green. If you want more of a blue color, you shift more to blue. If you want more of a red color, you shift more to red, usually. Not always, sometimes the cases are different. Go with your gut, whatever looks good. But if I simply change this to be more contrasted down to the right rather than down to the left, it'll get a lot better. You can see how that immediately, okay, that's a little bit too much. That's immediately quite a bit better, right? So I want to shift this more. And you can see how this moon is also matching up with this moon now. And this one looks pretty good compared to this, right? You can see how there's limited contrast. It gets to the point where it's getting gray and it looks more distant than the other things, which just look very odd in a setting like this, where it's a moon or a flat object or whatever. And same with this. If I simply go into the darker color, which hardly looks dark anymore, but it definitely is. If I simply shift down, go to this, it just gets a lot better. That's the only trick to it, honestly, in my opinion. And all you gotta do, go to here, go more red, and there you have it. Same with this. Shift more red. Wait, I want to see that. There we go. Shift more red. Shift more to the orangish kind of reddish scale. You might just want to go on red. And you can see how that's a lot better. It's different than this, but that's fine. I did a different technique for this. Well, not a technique, but I just changed the colors a little bit differently. Same with the books. The books you can tell, there's probably not too much you can tell from this that look really bad or anything, but you can tell how the yellow is kind of crappy. If I simply look at it, you can see how it's again going to the left instead of the right. Go to the right, shift more to red because it's going darker, and it's not closer to green because even though yellow is kind of close to green, I want it to be more of an orangish kind of color, right? So kind of just tinker with that, and you can see that's pretty decent. It's not as good with this in my opinion, but this is kind of just a showcase quickly. I'm gonna try to keep this under 10 minutes, so hopefully I don't get you bored. Okay, next thing here, is contrast with backgrounds. I just want to review everything I showed you here, and I want you to try to spot every single possible thing that could be wrong with this. And I'll give you one hint, it has to do with the background part. If you guess the fact that this part is too contrasty, that'd be probably correct. Um, but you can tell how this background is perfectly fine. This color is perfectly fine. However, in my opinion, it's just not good because if I eliminate this, this looks okay because it's more vibrant, it's more eye-catching, it's more the center of it. But if I keep this on, this kind of gets to the center as well. So if I simply shift this down to the right, change it to be more blue, and hit and click on it to be able to change all the colors, in my opinion, this is a lot better. Now, is it perfect color? No. Did I do much work on it? Not really. But but I do find it to be a lot better than that. In my opinion, if you change it to all the way black, that's okay. But you also want to have it to be maybe a little bit less contrasted. But even then, you can see how this still looks very like contrasty in a sense, right? If you want the text to be more um like vibrant in a sense, more eye-catching, then that's good. But it's not always perfect. So if I go to the landscape, you can see how immediately you probably noticed a lot of everything, but you probably didn't notice this top part. Why is that? Well, one thing is because it's just got a lot less detail, right? But that's not exactly the focus of the colors video right now. The main focus is because this is more vibrant. If I look at this, it's much more saturated, and as it goes up to the brightest color, you can see how it's a lot less saturation, right? So this is the main focus of the object, right? This is the focal point or whatever you want to call it, okay? So this is the main idea of the thing. This is the lesser idea. It gets a little bit less up here, but it's still kind of in there just because. And then this is where the actual, like, landscape is, right? And same with this. I kind of did an example before of how if you have something like this, the background, even though this is a part of the background, it contrasts so poorly or so much that it feels like it's part of the Pokeball instead. If you contrast it down, it doesn't, this is kind of odd still now, but it looks a lot better in terms of contrast with the Pokeball, if that makes any sense. So if I were to change this, I would simply just make it so that the Pokeball is the main point of interest, and by doing that, I'd simply just change all the colors else to just be more grayed, right? So this is all you want to do. That's it. And it simply just makes the Pokeball pop out a lot more, right? And same with this. I have just a slice of pizza with cheese or whatever, right? And if I go back to this, you can immediately see how it's still okay, but the outside is just so blue to the point where it's it's taking up quite a bit of the space of the art as well, in a sense, if that makes any sense at all. So if I simply change this to gray, it just makes it pop a lot better. And lastly, with this, if I have this and I change this background to be super contrasty, this is just going to be a big example, but if I make this red, make a dark red here, it's okay now, and it still works fine. Oh, and I forgot to do this as well. And it still works. However, it's just it's too much in the background, right? It's just too much stuff and it's not enough in the inside. However, you can see how the colors probably look very nice. Why is that? Well, it's because I'm following the exact same thing from square one. As soon as I learned about colors and this strategy, I have used it on everything. Because if I just look, no matter if it's digital art, pixel art, whatever, it works. So if I go from here, the lightest white, go to gray, it shifts down closer to blue. Now, it's very unnoticeable and it's almost nothing. But if I go to gray, it does shift down. And then if I go to here, you can see it shifts down more. And then if I go to this, it shifts down even more to the right. And then if I go again, oh, that's different color, whoops. Then if I go again, you can see how it's shifting down again, maybe a little bit less. But again, I said it can be sporadic, doesn't matter. It just has to go down to the right. That's the only really rule with it, right? And it goes down to the right again. This was almost a year ago, and I still followed it. And I was nowhere near as good as I am now, but it's just, it still works perfectly. And it's just because of the fact that it's going down to the right. That's all there is to know about colors. If you're stuck with pixel art and colors, that's all you need to know. Even this, I think I still did this. And this is when I didn't even know about the strategy. I sort of just did it. Sorry, 1 second. I'm not cutting them out because I'm too lazy. You can see how it does shift down to the left. And this was a while ago, so I don't know why I did this, but it does still look okay. Does it look better when I do this? If I go to here, this more down here, I think so. If you're trying to make a scene that's less vibrant, just make all the colors less vibrant. Don't bother with trying to make it go down to the left with all the colors. Make all them less vibrant. If I want to do that, all I have to do is simply copy this, move this over just as an example, and just grab all the colors and just shift them down a little bit. So I just go to this, shift this down, go to this one, shift it down, go to this one, shift it down. And you can just see automatically it's just made it less vibrant. It's perfect, right? And if you want to make the like ocean more vibrant, right? The one main thing, what do you got to do? You just got to make it more vibrant. So all you got to do is increase saturation. Go to the right a little bit, right? That's all you got to do. For this, go to the right a little bit, go down, go to this, go to the right a little bit, go this down. And you can automatically see it's a lot more contrasty against this now. It's still not exactly perfect, and I might just go brighter or something like that. But I do like it a lot. It's not bad, and for the color system that's working here, it works well. It's not perfect probably by any means, and there's probably a lot of adjustments that a lot of better people would say. But in my opinion, all you have to do is shift down to the right. That's the main thing, and then you can kind of just use your common sense and just see what works better. That's all it is. For this, you can see how I didn't exactly obey that rule here with the closer to red, but that's kind of common sense. As long as it works well, you can almost go with anything. So as long as it's bottom right, if I go like this, and then if I go to down a little bit more, even maybe even almost a purple, it looks still pretty okay. It still looks really fine, and it looks actually perfectly fine. The only difference is that I changed it to be a little bit more saturated and a little bit darker. So all I ask that you take out of this, I know it's 15 minutes now, so I've taken a lot of time, more than I should have. But all I ask that you take out of this is that colors really aren't too hard. They shouldn't be taken as too difficult at all. All you have to do is shift down to the right. That's all it is. And I hope you learned that from this. Even if you're already pretty good at this, pretty good at pixel art or whatever art you do, it should help you. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much all the tips I have. If you like it, join the Discord again. Like and subscribe if you somehow made it this long, 15 minutes in. Um, yeah, I recommend trying this out. I might leave a few like examples in the description where you can try these out. I'll leave like some crappily made colors, and then you just have to fix them, and you can send them into Discord. I'll see how it is, right? See how you did. Um, but yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. If you somehow made it this long and learned something. So yeah, see ya.